Hey everybody, Bacon here again with some more Hearthstone tips. Today I want to talk about mentality and attitude to have when going for Legend. I decided to make this video because it took me a lot longer to hit Legend than usual this season. I realized that the reason I was taking so long was because I was breaking a lot of the rules that I made for myself on keeping a good mindset. So yeah, these are some tips for you to help with your Legend grind if that's what you want to do in Hearthstone. So let's go right over to tip number 1. Keep a good mentality. Key for success on the ladder is to play around tilt because it will seriously hurt your win rate if you let a bad mentality get to you. Having a bad mentality about the game removes repercussions for your misplays. When you're on tilt, there's a common feeling of, oh, I couldn't have beat that. Their RNG was crazy, or they drew so well that I couldn't possibly win. A negative attitude like this is it's an excuse for bad play because you're distancing yourself from the win and attributing the loss to things outside of your control. So tip number 2 is that you have to realize that there are some games that are impossible for you to win, but there are never games that are impossible for you to lose. So sometimes it's true that the draw or the matchup or the RNG were unfavorable enough that it's impossible for you to win that game, but you always have to try your best and to minimize misplays because it's always possible that your opponent won't play to the optimal outcomes. So in these games, you're playing around your opponent making a mistake. The counterpoint to this is that no matter how favored you are because of your draws or your RNG or the general matchup stats, it's always possible for you to lose if you play bad enough. So the theoretical player who always makes the mathematically correct choices will not have a 100% win rate. That's impossible. But they will maximize their chances to win every game. And this should be the goal of any player who wants to compete in Hearthstone competitively. So tip number 3 is that every game you lose that you could have won costs you a massive amount of time. Absolutely huge. So the way that the star system works in Hearthstone is that each match is a 3-star swing. Winning one puts you 2 higher than if you lost, and losing one puts you 2 lower than if you won. If you lose a game that was possible for you to win, then you have to win the next game just to get back where you started, and one more game to get where you should have been 2 games ago. A lot of people underestimate how much throwing a single game can cost them, and every game that you could have won but didn't will generally add like an extra 20 to 40 minutes onto your legend climb, which already takes a lot of time. So tip number 4 is to track your stats. And this is super, super important because there's a huge difference between anecdotal evidence and actual statistics. One common thing to see is people overestimating how much of a specific matchup they see on the ladder. You may say to yourself that 75% of the ladder is aggro shaman and pirate warrior and try to counter that with a hardcore anti-aggro strategy. But the reality of the situation when you look at stats is that you run into a lot less of any one matchup than it ever seems. If you're going to make a deck or tech choices based on the meta, make sure that you do it based on statistics, not just intuition. So the final tip I have for you guys is to put the time in. Regardless of how well you play, getting to Legend is going to be a pretty significant time commitment. If you aren't willing to play at least 250 games in a season, you probably aren't going to get there. It takes a lot of time. So that's sort of the final tip I have for you. Just put the time in because it will take a long time to get to Legend, even if you play, very well. So I hope these tips are going to be helpful for you if you plan on making it to Legend. If you know a friend who wants to make it to Legend, please share this video with them. And let me know in the comments below what you think about the video. And please subscribe for more Hearthstone content. So we'll see you guys next time. Have a good day.